We will start with contestant number 1, Elizabeth Shaw. Tune in, Elizabeth Shaw.
Since the beginning of time, mankind has been trying to find a way to divine the answers to life's most difficult questions. He's tried reading palms, reading tea leaves, reading tarot cards. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and anyone who has ever needed a psychic to figure out their lives. None of those methods work. But I have one that does. Tonight I'm going to share with you the 2 experiences that led me to discover this method, and then I'm going to give you the secret. The first experience happened about 12 years ago. I was undergoing treatment for cancer when a routine scan of my liver showed that it had spots. Now these spots were either going to kill me in under a year, or my liver has freckles, making it just a little cuter than yours. They ran test after test, trying to determine killer liver, cute liver. Finally, there was just one test left to run. I was in my car going to that test, and I cried out, am I going to live or am I going to die? I reached out my hand and I tuned in the local oldies station, and the voice of the great prophet Tom Petty sang out to me, "The waiting is the hardest part." And I said, "Oh, brother Tom, that is a hard teaching. I have been waiting for weeks now. I could die anytime. I need to know." But Tom was right. I wasn't going to find out. They put me on a schedule to scan my liver every 3 months. They did that for 3 years, until finally my doctor said to me, "I am bored looking at your liver. I declare it officially cute." And then he kicked me out of his office. The second experience occurred more recently. I was driving home from work when suddenly I realized I was disgruntled. Yea, verily, I tell you, I was so disgruntled that the very word disgruntled is an understatement of monumental proportions. Brothers and sisters, I was angry. Well, the thing is, I didn't know why. So once again, I tuned in my local oldie station, and the voice of the great prophet Mick Jagger sang out to me, "You can't always get what you want." And I said, "Oh, brother Mick, I have a list that is miles long of things that I want, and now you tell me I cannot get them?" I felt myself begin to sink into the pit of despair, and that is when Mick reached out the hand of hope to me. He said that if I tried, sometimes I might find I get what I need. And I said, I already have everything that I need and so much more. Look at me, I am speaking at the International Toastmasters Convention. How much more can one woman be blessed? Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, is she really trying to tell me that I can get all of life's answers by tuning in a local oldie station? Absolutely not. But I want you to begin to think about your brain as a radio dial. It has 2 stations. It has the taking things for granted station, and it has the gratitude station. Now, we are programmed by default to be tuned in 24/7 to taking things for granted. But every so often, something wonderful happens, and we blip over to gratitude, and it feels good. And we would like to stay there always. But before you know it, blip, we are taking things for granted again. The secret that you are waiting to hear is how to reprogram your brain so that you are by default tuned in to gratitude all the time. Here's how you do it. You begin with a gratitude journal. Now, you've heard of this. You write 3 things, 5 things every night in your journal. I submit to you that is not enough to reprogram your brain. Write an entire page of things that you are grateful for. And once that habit is established, I want you to do something that's a little strange. I want you to start writing down things that anger you, annoy you, irritate you. I'm talking about the guy who cuts you off in traffic, the coworker who whistles under her breath all day, the customer service rep who didn't listen to you or answer your problem. Write them down in your gratitude journal. Use a special color ink if it makes you feel less hypocritical, but write them down. Step 3 is where we find out that Brother Tom was right. The waiting is the hardest part, but it is the part where the magic happens, because when we allow for the passage of time, we receive in return the gift of perspective. When I open my journals from those 3 years, when I didn't know whether I was going to live or die, I see 2 things. First, those years that I thought were a curse were the most blessed time of my life, because I grew more spiritually and emotionally than any time before or since. And the second thing that I learned is that I was asking the wrong question. It should never have been, am I going to live or am I going to die? The question is, how do I live today? And the answer is, with gratitude for everything. And that, my friends, is the secret.